morning, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday Talk and Friday Forum combined. And first of all, I'd like to welcome you all to this first meeting of 2022. And we got some announcements. I want Don is going to make an announcement first.
Hey, everyone. We have a show for you this afternoon. 2 o'clock here, Regency Oaks Veterans Association meeting. So I ask you to save your seats and come on back at 2 o'clock. Our speaker is Dr. Bill Lewis, one of our great residents. Bill is a great speaker and a great man. So I know you'll look forward to hearing from him. So hope to see you back here at 2 o'clock today. Thank you, Chris.
So after this meeting, have a leisurely lunch and come back here, 2 o'clock. And I think, next week, the quarterly Regency Oaks Resident Organization quarterly meeting will be Wednesday, the 19th at 10 o'clock here in the town hall. So with that, let's get started, Brandon. It's going to be a long meeting. I hope not. You sure about that? Okay. Well, we went through, did the Regency Oaks objectives. We got 5 objectives. And the first one.
Oh, I do have that.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
You're confusing me already.
Yeah, I see. I'm just testing you.
Okay.
Okay.
There, take over.
I think I got it. Okay. So every year, you know that we set objectives, and this is a joint project. It's done with the management team and with the with RORO leadership, and we do it so that we have a unified vision. This allows us to make sure that we are working on the priorities that we've identified that are going to have the most impact on Regency Oaks. And so every January, we want to roll out those 5 objectives and tell you who's going to be responsible. And so the first objective for 2022 is to direct the construction projects on campus and keep residents updated on progress. So one of the things that we have made sure that's going to happen during this construction process is that we're going to do a really strong focus on communication. Not only is there a construction meeting on a weekly basis that's held here at Regency Oaks with the development officer and the construction company and management here at the community, but we also are going to have Schaefer, our general contractor, is going to have a representative here at Tuesday Talk to update the residents every Tuesday. So we want to make sure that you're involved in this process and that you're aware of what's going on and kept up to date with all the information. Now, Lou Weislogel is heading up the construction committee. It's a subcommittee of the Building and Grounds Committee, and he'll be working with us closely on this as well. The construction project that we're getting ready to kick off on, and I don't know if you noticed, but we arranged to have them here this morning at 10:30 to start the construction. And I don't know if any of you saw it when you walked in the door, but we've got a backhoe out there, and they're getting ready to start the trenching to protect the trees and to put out the barrier fence that we'll use throughout the construction process. Now, we'll talk a little bit more about timeline later in the presentation. But the construction that we're looking at right now consists of 5 things. It's a conversion of this auditorium into a fitness center, the construction of a new town hall to include a wellness center, office space for staff, and then the update to the beauty salon to include a spa. So that's the primary construction project. There are a couple of other projects on campus this year. One is to replace the outdoor furniture in the breezeway. And so all the white wicker is scheduled to be replaced. We ordered that furniture back in May of last year, and it just came in yesterday. And so if you've seen the 2 pods that are behind the north building over where we park the company vehicles, there are 2 pods full of new furniture. And so Darwin and his team will be getting that rolled out. As part of that, we also are going to be revising the finish for the breezeway, but we won't do that until all this construction is finished. There's one other project that is currently scheduled, and that's the update to the tavern. That tentatively is slated to kick off in late April, early May, with a completion date of late June, early July. Our 2 responsible parties are Don Hamilton and Darwin Perez.
Next slide, please. If you don't think there's going to be changes, there's going to be a lot of changes coming up with all this construction and whatnot, so be aware and pay attention to all the announcements. Second objective is to reorganize the marketing committee and ambassadors to drive new independent living sales. Now, the ambassadors and the marketing committee has always been a part of sales, testimonies, attending luncheons, going on trips, back when we could do recruiting trips. And so, but the thing is, we want to see if we can do it better. And if you might notice that we got Tony Quattromani and Sherry Schutzel on the committee. Why isn't Perry on the committee? Yeah. Why not do somebody from marketing? Well, the idea is to have some outsiders looking in to see if they can see something that we can do a little better. And well, the whole goal is to keep Regency Oaks at full occupancy. And we slipped a little in the past couple of years, and it might be blame the virus. They blame the virus on everything. So we're going to just see if we can do it a little better. Next slide, please.
Okay, our third objective for 2022 is to implement the Meal of the Day dining program to replace what's called the Bistro Meal Credit Plan. And that's the plan we're currently using now. Now, for those historians amongst you, you may recall that we attempted to roll this out back in January, February of 20, after talking about it for the entire fourth quarter of 19. And so I think we had our resident presentation on this the very first of February 2020, and 8-9 days later, COVID struck. And so this is a plan that many of you have heard about, you're familiar with. It's been in the works for more than 2 years, but it's just been delayed, primarily because of COVID. It's still technically delayed. One of the things that is preventing us from rolling this out right now is the fact that not all of our dining venues are open. And the whole point of the program, in order to make it work, we've got to have the dining venues open. The Regency Room, the Grill on the Breezeway, Bella Row, all of those dining venues that support just the 2 regular dining rooms really have to be up and running and functioning before we're able to move forward with this. So once that happens and the venues are back and open and we're fully staffed, then we're going to proceed with this plan. We will roll it out. It's going to be, we learned from the last opportunity where we presented it. It created a whole lot of angst amongst residents. We've learned from that. We're a learning organization. And so this time it's a different approach. We're going to present to you the pros and the cons. We think the daily meal plan is the best of the programs. We're going to tell you why, but ultimately you will have to make that decision yourself. We're not going to force you to do anything. If you want to go to the new plan, you're going to have that opportunity. If you want to stay with your existing plan, you're going to have that opportunity. So we'll talk more about that as these dining venues return to full operation and we're ready to proceed. This is probably a second quarter goal.
Next slide, please. Build resident engagement. This one is one that I was particularly interested in, and it's going to be a goal for the board as well. But back when we did the survey, well, we can't see it on the camera, But Brent put up the results of the survey, and engagement was at 62%. It was very low. I call that a D+. And just to give you an idea, I went back to the survey results that were shown. I feel a sense of belonging to my community, 69%. My community helps me maintain all aspects of my well-being, 66%. My community helps me to live my life with purpose, 63%. And this one really is challenging. I feel like I have a voice in my community. Only 49% agree or strongly agree or agree. That's pretty low. And so what we're going to try to do this shortened year, because the survey was a few months ago, is to improve that. And these are going to be measurable because we're going to have another survey. And I hope that Andrea and Leslie would have a goal of changing the 62% to 75 for a goal, or a stretch goal of 85. We have to turn that around through communication, but they're going to have a lot of strategies to achieve that. So this is one that I think is very important. Next slide, please.
This is our final objective for the year, and this is our forward-thinking objective, and it's we are hoping to have some payback this year on some of this, but it's really thinking about the future, and things are changing. They're changing in our country, in our community. What our residents want is different from what they wanted 5 years ago. The staff that we're trying to attract and retain, what they're looking for in an employer is different than what it was 2 years ago. And so we're trying to get out ahead of the curve on this. And so it's envision and engage in developing leading edge technologies that will help the community gain operational efficiencies and market share. And so market share both in terms of new residents and new staff. And so it's, I know you're probably sitting there saying, well, that's pretty ambitious. What the heck does he mean by that? And so just to give you an illustrative example of what we're looking at, here are 4 things that we've already done in the last 3 months that puts us on the cutting edge of technology and innovation. Daily pay. January 1st, we just rolled out a daily pay platform for our associates. So you no longer have to wait for a paycheck every second Friday of the month. Second and fourth Friday of the month, you get a paycheck, or every 2 weeks, you get a paycheck. You're able to pay yourself when and where you want, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you work a day, you can pay yourself for that day. If you're halfway through the pay period and you have a bill that's coming due, you can pay yourself. And so that's going to help us be competitive in a tight labor market. We're getting ready to roll out. We are beta testing it right now. Leslie Haas has been working for the last 4 or 5 months on revisiting Appy Pie. And some of you may recall this was another initiative from a couple of years ago that is a mobile phone app, and it allows you direct access to department heads. So you no longer have to try to call on a phone or go through the front desk. It gives you direct access. And so if you have an issue that you think needs to be addressed, you can go to Ricky and email him directly or text message him directly. If you want to make a reservation in the dining room, reserve a ride. If you want to put in a work order, it's going to allow you direct access. So better communication, greater access, quicker speed, more efficiency. It's going to result in better service for our residents. Another one that Jesse is very excited about, he's not with us this morning, but it's called The Wiz. And Regency Oaks has been selected to participate in a beta test of The Wiz. And The Wiz is the automated vacuuming. There are little robotics that you stick in your hallway and you let them go. And they will vacuum the corridors and there are a series of cameras and lasers and memory that will make sure they don't run over residents. They stop when they see movement. You're able to set up the pattern, and not only do we get the benefit of improved floor care, but we also will save several full-time equivalents, FTEs. And then one last example is in the new spa. There are 2 stations, and both of them are going to be automated. It doesn't require any staff whatsoever. And so Bobby Belcher went down and helped the committee select these 2 products. One is a hydro massage table where you actually can lay in the massage therapy and hot water does the work. The other is an environmental emulsion capsule where you can lay in this glass capsule, and let's say you want to, you select to hang glide over an orange grove in California. Not only does the entire roof of the capsule become a projection screen, but your chair will move as the hang glider moves, and as you go over the oranges, you'll get a scent of citrus, and they're designed for stimulation and relaxation depending upon which experience you choose. Again, all the new wave of the future, because life is changing, work is changing, the new wave of the future. How many of you have noticed if you go into a racetrack, they don't have cashiers anymore? There may be a staff member who's overseeing a series of self-checkouts. We're seeing it in Walmart. We're seeing it in McDonald's. And so the things are going to change over the next 3 or 4 years, and Regency Oaks wants to make sure that we're on that leading age and that we're adapting and changing and growing as a community. And so this committee is the Envision Committee for Regency Oaks. And here are the participants. It's Chris and I, Chet Janes, Jesse, Judy Studebaker has joined us, and Tiffany Rivers.
Next slide, please. So, roll ahead. Teams need to formulate objectives or strategies for each goal. Set some strategies that are measurable. Like we want to raise 62% engagement up to 75. And we're going to be back in March to update all the residents on how the teams are doing on each one of the goals. And our objectives are going to, like Brent said, drive the community into the future. So more changes. So when you see an object vacuuming your hallway and no people attached to it, that's one of the changes we'll be experiencing. I just hope it's not at midnight.
That's all right.
Okay. And with that, any questions? Next slide. There you go. Any questions?
Yes. How much is this going to cost, gold by gold? And is any of it going to be financed?
How many, or what will be the cost of these objectives by objective? Each item should be broken down in a budget form. And is any of it going to be financed?
You know, that is really too early to give an estimate on, because we've developed the overriding goals, but our committees have not yet had a chance to come back and come up with the objectives. And so until we know what direction our committees have decided to go with the goals, it's going to be really hard for us to quantify dollars that we intend to invest. We absolutely are going to invest dollars, particularly in the construction and the innovation areas. All of that stuff is expensive. It's not going to come without a price tag. But it's really too early to quantify what that looks like.
Well, what about
the construction preparation is taking place on the east side here?
Sure, I can give you...
You must have some idea.
Oh, yeah, I can absolutely give you an idea on the construction dollars. Remember, however, that those dollars aren't coming out of this year's capital budget. They're coming out of the capital budget from 2 years ago that we've been carrying forward. So we've reserved that funding, and it's been carried forward for the last 2 years. And the construction cost for the current construction that we've identified is right at $5.4 million.
And this is coming out of a budget item that's been carried forward for the last couple of years?
Correct. Yeah, the town hall was slated to start in 2020, but because of COVID got delayed into 2021, and then because of COVID got delayed into 2022.
Any other questions? Hold on a second.
I'm wondering what input there was for what's going to be in the spa. I mean, hearing about orange groves just doesn't thrill me, and I'm wondering, if we're paying money for stuff in the spa, what is, why is that attractive? It just seems so way out.
Yeah, yeah. So there was a resident committee who worked with us on this, and then also we incorporated input from our design team and from Abby Germain, who is the owner-operator of Rejuvenate Spa. And so Abby was able to assist us in talking about new directions and what's happening in her industry. And so I feel like, yes, this is something that you're maybe not familiar with, but it's also something that if you've looked at the periodicals and read about some of these innovations, it's something that you're probably going to embrace. I think it's something residents will enjoy.
Brent, unless I missed something or I'm unaware of it, at one of your last meetings last year, you had talked about assisted living and how we were handicapped down there. We didn't have enough employees. We weren't being able to fill rooms. What is being done to try to correct that problem?
Okay, so if you wouldn't mind, let me ask you to hold that question, and the questions that we'll take for right now just have to do with the goals and objectives. We're going to talk a little bit more about some of those other issues as we move forward. Would that be okay? All right, any other questions on the construction?
Okay, we'll turn it over to you, Brian.
All right. Ms. McKay has a question back there.
Oh. One last question. There she comes.
In regard to the spa and the new equipment, I have a pretty big, I'm wondering, one of the problems at our present hairdressing is that the phone system doesn't work properly.
The what?
The phone, to try to get an appointment, the operator, either Linda or Kathy, have to leave everything and answer the phone. Will that be improved in this new construction? Something as simple as that is pretty important to be able to make an appointment.
So they would still have to stop what they're doing and answer the phone. Am I missing something? You've lost me, maybe.
You can't leave a message. It's
You can't leave a message,
the
okay.
way most people, other salons.
Okay. Do I have a solution here, Bobby?
I do. I know that one of the things that's going to happen is that instead of them having a phone on a desk that they have to stop and go to, and also that system doesn't always work properly. Never works. Thank you. Thank you. Every operator will have a walk-around phone that they can keep at their station. So they might simply answer it and tell you, can I call you back? But at least you can take your information and then get back to you. But it's going to be very different from what their situation is over there now. And an improvement, I think. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you.
And also, while we're talking about the spa, I think Brant's explanation was excellent on the massage table. It actually is a water pad, and it's very relaxing. I don't know anyone here. As a matter of fact, when I finished putting away my Christmas decorations, I really wished I had it. It's really helpful, and you can concentrate on any area of the body that you need the help, and the deep massage, it was wonderful. And the other machine, maybe Brent shouldn't have talked about orange groves, that doesn't excite me either. But when you're in that capsule, you can choose whatever you want to help you relax and enjoy the experience. And it's also very, very nice. I think some of this stuff maybe sounds like it came from outer space to some of you, but you're going to love it when you try it out.
Will there be a cost?
We have not worked all the details of that out, but it's going to be nominal compared with going anywhere else to a spa.
One more.
Is the great smell of oranges that you talked about, Brad, in scope for this discussion? If so, a number of people, my co-residents in the North Wing, have had some very difficult flooding problems and plumbing issues that have occurred recently. And I've come to find out, from talking to the plumber that we brought in over the weekend, it usually comes from up top and come down below.
So we're gonna hold those questions. We've got 7 or 8, 9, 10 more presentations to do, but we're going to come back. We're going to stay here until every one of your questions have been answered.
We'll have another Q&A at the end of the meeting.
We are. So, all right, let's move forward so that we can get through this agenda. Next slide. All right, so the next thing we wanted to share with you was the construction schedule. And, this is subject to change. There can be weather delays, there can be supply delays, there can be building construction issues that come up, but this is the contractor's best estimate of the efforts for the construction. So the town hall construction is going to run about 230 days. It's scheduled to start construction January 24th and end on August 22nd. The fitness center is only going to require 55 days of construction. So that means that it's not going to be shut down that entire 230 days that it's going to take to build the new town hall. So the fitness center is scheduled to be shut down on May 26th, and that's the construction start date for the existing town hall that is converting to a fitness center. And then that is scheduled to open on August the 11th, a week ahead of the new town hall. Same way with the beauty salon, it's going to be about 54 days of construction, and it's going to start April 27th and run through July 13th. So we'll see that beauty salon first, followed by the fitness center, and then the town hall in terms of when these are going to open. Now, once the fitness center shuts down, the existing town hall, all of the large group activities will have to go to the 4th floor activity room and the south building grand lobby over in the south. So the fitness center will continue to be operational. Zelco's current fitness center will continue to be operational right up until the day we open the new fitness center here in this building. And the beauty salon is going to be relocated to a vacant apartment, just like we did the last time we renovated the beauty salon. We haven't designated that apartment, but we will do that as we get a little bit closer. So there's our construction schedule.
So cheers.
I hate to open this again, but any questions on the construction schedule only? All right. Oh, we got one right over here.
Wood shop and arts and crafts room.
So there are 2 issues that are unresolved. The first issue is we don't have the date for the shutdown of the arts and crafts and the woodworking shop. That is something that they are still working on. We ran into an issue as we were in our pre-construction meeting, and we're going to have to figure that out. So that's something that is still under consideration. The other thing that is still under consideration is how do we get the south building residents over to the town hall or north building. And so there's going to have to be a temporary walkway, but we don't have details to share yet. Before we ever start construction, we'll have that information, but I just don't have it today. We're aware that we need to work that out before we can start construction, and we'll share and update that once we have the information.
Don, Grant, excuse me. One of the really popular functions and places on this campus is the town hall. I've not heard any comment or any printing about what's going to happen to the tavern. Excuse me. Is it going to be possible to keep the tavern open even if we have to use the west door instead of the east door?
So the great question. The tavern is going to be open throughout, with the exception of when the tavern gets renovated. And as I mentioned, that's slated to begin end of April, 1st of May, and should take about 60 days. So the tavern will be shut down for about a 60-day period as we renovate the tavern. Now that's in a different bucket, different construction bucket, but that other than that 60-day period that the tavern is being renovated, it should be open for the rest of this construction schedule. All right, next slide. Oh, I'm sorry.
I have a
No.
question. Will we be able to use this town hall prior? Will we be able to use this town hall for meetings prior to the beginning of the construction on the fitness center?
Yes, right up until May 26th, we will be able to use this room.
Thank you.
All right, next slide. And this is the select service price increase. This is published every January and is available for anyone who has an interest. I know you're not able to read that, but I'm just showing you that it is available and should be at your front desk by Friday of this week. And there are 60, 70 items that have had a small increase. And if you're interested in finding out what that is, you're able to go and pick these up from the front desk starting on Friday of this week. Next slide. Okay, Sherry is not here today, and so we're going to go directly into our administrative reports. I'm going to do Sherry's portion here. And this was a suggestion that we had from Chet Janes, is to try to put this presentation into a couple of key slides that are maybe easier to see and to understand. And so it's our first attempt at this, and you'll have to let us know whether you like this or prefer to get it in just the verbiage. So what you see up here are two lines. You see red is the prior year, blue is the current year, and this is the year-to-date revenue picture for the community. And what we're looking at is variance. And so when you start at this, everything is starting at $0. And so we're looking at this year, it's the blue, and so everything you see is in blue is the variance. That's did we do better or worse than budget? And right up until about end of July, we were exceeding expectations on our revenue. And then once August came and we had the COVID outbreak that first week of August, the skilled nursing had to shut down, and our occupancy went from 100% occupied to down to, I think it was about 24% occupied, and we have today we're sitting at about 60% occupancy. And so there's been a pretty significant drop off to budget of our revenue, and that's what that's related to. Now it's interesting to go back and look at this red line, And you can see that they're very similar. During the first 8 months of last year, we were ahead of budget on the revenue side. And then in August of last year, we had the fall surge. It was a little later. It was the end of August. And we took occupancy hits over in the skilled nursing again. And so we had a revenue drop off in that point as well. And so there's our revenue variance to date. We'll take a look at our year-to-date expenses. That's the next slide. So again, this is the variance. So we're starting from zero, and we're looking. We'll talk just briefly about last year. What's the difference between these 2 years? And so last year we had pretty significant COVID expenses, and so all the PPE, the personal protective equipment that you see, the masks, the gowns, the booties, the supplies, the cleaners, all of that got incorporated into our operating expenses. And so there was a pretty significant bump right there in our operating expenses. As you would expect this year, our operating expenses are below zero because we're looking at the variance. So we've overperformed in terms of controlling our expenses. I'd love to sit up here and say, well, we're completely responsible and take the credit for that. But the reality is so much of this year, particularly over the course of the last 5 months of the year, our expenses were under budget because of COVID. We had restrictions, we were short of staffing, and so there were some corresponding expenses that we were not incurring that showed us able to stay under budget with expenses. And then this this thing right here, look right, I think that's, let me look at my notes, that's September, late September, 1st of October. Look how it just goes through the chart, and it happened last year and it happened this year. And so what that is it's the fourth quarter, and it is the adjustments that we do an accrual for workers' comp, insurance, all the non-controllable accruals that we accrue throughout the course of the year. This is where they start getting applied. And so relative to if we had annualized them or flatlined them, it wouldn't look like that. But that's why you see that almost vertical line, it's the layering in of the accruals at the end of the year. Okay, next slide. And here's our NOI year to date, and you can see that NOI has dropped off this year. This is blue. In terms of performance, we are still cash flowing. We're still we're right below $800,000 of positive NOI, but we are off of budget, and that's driven by one thing only. That's the fact that our skilled nursing is sitting at 60% occupancy. So we will rebound, but that's sort of where we stand year to date. Let me just give you a few additional figures, and I think that's the last slide. Just confirm. Oh no, it's up there. Okay, good. So our revenue budget is under by $292,000. All of that is skilled nursing occupancy. Wages and benefit are under by 117. This is sort of an interesting statistic because we have two things that you're looking at there. One, we don't have any. We're short of staff. And so you would have thought that number would have been even greater in terms of savings. But it's offset because we're spending an awful lot of money on overtime, people who are picking up extra shifts and volunteering to work extended hours in order to keep pace with our staffing needs. And then the other thing is we've had non-budgeted wage increases in order to retain and attract new associates as well. And so it's only partially offset there. Total controllable expenses are right on track. We're 8,000 under, and on the size of that budget, that's pretty much on budget. Non-controllable expenses are under budget, $75,000. But remember, on that fourth quarter, that's when those things start to get layered in. So we'll see an adjustment on that this month. We're currently working on the December financials, and so we anticipate that that $75,000 is going to be absorbed. We plan for it at the end of the year because we know it's going to get layered in. Our net operating income is 330 to a budget of 439,000. We're about $108,000 under our net operating income for the month, and year to date that's 967,000. So we missed by nearly $1 million. Now that miss is partially offset. There was a $600,000 of that million that was reclassed below the bottom line. So our actual cash loss to budget is about $400,000, but we're still going to have a positive NOI of more than $3 million. Okay, and I think that is the last slide. It is, and I'm going to turn it over to who is next.
Brett, before you get started with the department heads,
Good morning, everyone. So the update for my accomplishments for the month of December were I became a notary, because I know there is a huge demand for the notary in the community. And with that, I've also been preparing the 2022 ad valorem forms, and I will share with everybody that Sherry did a little research and we discovered that they do not have to be notarized anymore. So I will be working on putting those in your box for you to turn into the desk. It will not have to be the big ordeal of everybody coming and having a witness signature and having them notarized. Working on some of our 2022 licensing renewals, working on the OIR response audit, keeping all this documentation in place. I've joined the safety committee as well as the culture committee, and I'm working on completing compliance and ethics training along with Jesse and participating in new hire orientation.
Our compliment for December was we rebuilt the exercise stations. We made them out like a seating area, so for you guys to, when you're walking around, you can sit around them. We also fixed the electrical problem we had around the breezeway. We got some of the maintenance golf cars battery replacement, and we dropped the work orders to like 20% per day. Thank you.
Innovative Home Services. IHS had one estate sale in the month of December. We provided over 4,000 hours of service, which is including companion and ADL services, to all the residents here at Regency. And we participated in the new resident social. Thank you.
Good morning, Perry from Sales and Marketing. We had a strong close to the year. We had 7 closes on a budget of 4, so that was good. We had one deposit that for a couple of reasons just couldn't get closed, so that'll be happening early into this new year. And we've got a couple of other new deposits that are coming in. We just got one on Friday, so we're off to a good start for January as well. We had a busy month with visitors. We had 228 different people in visiting, whether that was in-person community visits, whether that was us going out to their home, them coming in for lunches or dinners, or attending our customer events. So we had 228 people, so that was strong. In sales, it's calls. How many people can you touch? We made 969 outbound calls in December, in addition to all the other things that was going on. And probably one of the most exciting things is we were able to get the new Franklin concept model. Many of you have been able to walk into that and see it. That's now completed. We do have plexiglass on the window. There is a sign that says temporary. Don't lean on that, because the glass, as many of you know, the back order of glass for lanais. So that will be coming to complete it, but it looks good. We were able to do a photo shoot, and we're in the process of touching up the photographs to get them on the website into all the different channels that we'll be using those for. And then we are very much working on the Hamilton model. So that is the smaller of the apartments, which we have the most availability of, and that also has been re-envisioned. And so the work on that is continuing. Probably sometime in about a month from now, we should be wrapping that up and be able to do the same thing with photographs and promotion and so forth. So thank you for all your, again, resident referrals. We really appreciate that. Many of you doing a great job with that. Keep letting us know of people that you know that we should be talking to. Thank you.
Good morning. How is everyone today? Happy New Year. I haven't seen you since then. Happy New Year. The biggest changes that we have, of course, we have wonderful events during the month of December for the holidays, so thank you everyone that attended. The biggest things, is, of course, since we're going to be losing the town hall, please be vigilant with your Monday memo as well as the Oaks. If you are not getting that, please be sure to get in contact with Mary Ellen or Johanna or anyone that's on the committee so that they can make sure that you have it, because a few things will be changing since we will be losing the town hall. The largest cocktail party is on Thursday. I'm sorry, that's the 13th. It is disco, so we look forward to having you. It is in the Breezeway, so please feel free to stop by and have a great time with us. We appreciate everything from your feedback. Our new head member with Andrea, thank you so much. We welcome you. And of course, as we make this transition, we appreciate any feedback and suggestions as well as patience. We are navigating losing the town hall, so we're trying our best to make sure that the engagement is still wonderful at the community, but we're just going to need a lot of patience. So we really appreciate you as always. We're always open to feedback, and then other than that, Happy New Year.
I'm Leslie, Resident Services Director. For this last month, we continue to provide booster shots for our residents and associates for when their time for their 6 months comes around. We, in the Health Center, Wellness Center, we assisted Culture Committee with the staff holiday party. We continue to have our Good Grief support group with Millie Diaz, our resident who assists, and our monthly Sharps and Prescription disposal date. And we continue to screen residents, visitors, and employees when on campus. Thank you.
All right, lighten it up a little bit. Beautiful. Ricky and Johnny from Food Service, we had our EV party and dinner event, our Christmas dinner, our monthly wine and beer clubs, hosted the RORO Christmas lunch, hosted the RORO board dinner, hosted the ROVA dinner, hosted the Flagra dinner. We hosted a lot of things. Prepared appetizers and drinks for the Regency Oaks play. And then tomorrow, Johnny and I will be in the Breezeway doing an Italian-themed pop-up from 4 to 5:30 tomorrow. See you then. Thank you. All right, there we go.